Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Ashtrayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatir Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Deham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so we continue further. We stopped. We finished the 10th verse yesterday. We'll proceed further. Verse 11. Shashtam atrerapatyattvam vritaprapto nasuyaya anvikshikim malarkaya prahladadibhya uchivan. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the age Atri. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlada, and others, Yadu, Haihaya, etc. This is the incarnation of Dattatreya, Atri and Anasuya. So there are multiple variants of this Leela. So here Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning about Brahmanda Purana. So where it is said that Anasuya, wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lords Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Follows, my lords, if you are pleased with me and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. So this was accepted by the Lord, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy. So he appeared as portion of one portion of Brahma, one portion of Shiva, one portion of Vishnu. So also in the fourth canto, there is description about how Atri himself was standing. They wanted a son, Atri and Anasuya, but there it is described in Bhagavatam, fourth canto, that Atri was standing in, he was doing penance and he was praying, and he prays saying that, "Oh Lord, please appear, please bestow my, fulfill my desire." And then suddenly, then he opens his eyes and he sees Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara standing. So then he says, I called for one Lord. Why three of you have come? So it looks like Atri was, worshipping impersonal Brahman. So he said, "Oh Supreme Lord," as in his mind, it was Brahman. But then 3 persons appeared. And Atri is confused. So he says, "Who are you? I mean, who of these? Whom did you? Whom did I call? Whom of you did I call?" And the 3 of them say, that "We are non-different. You called for the Lord. We are all of them." And then they manifest, their portions, and the sun is Lord. So actually, see, in previous yugas, people used to be so pure and perfect in their religious practices, that they could actually see these great lords also, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Of course, even it is said that even during the time of Maharaj Yudhishthir, mm, when all these various yagnas, Ashwamedha, etc., were being performed, like normal people could see the demigods, because they would come to take their offerings, portions of sacrificial offerings. And so that used to be the sanctity, purity of previous ages. That is why it is said, Kali Yuga is the most fallen. Now, when we read these, we keep wondering, oh, will I ever be able to see the Lord myself? Isn't it? Actually, it is said that as the yugas progress or digress, they worsen, the religious principles to achieve Lord's mercy become simpler and become more powerful. So when in Satyuga somebody had to do penance like this for thousands of years, and then eventually they would see the Lord. Of course, exceptions are like Dhruva, who saw the Lord in 6 months. But that was just because of the mercy of great devotee, Narada Muni. But otherwise, just simply following religious principles would take them years. Like Valmiki did 60,000 years of penance before he got the mercy of the Lord. But in Kali Yuga, because we don't have so much time, we don't have so much qualification, we don't have so much purity. I mean, everything is against us. So it is the mercy of the Lord that the process for achieving perfection in this Yuga is the most powerful and the most simplest. So simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I mean, it is unimaginable, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam. Simply by hearing about the Lord, chanting his holy names, we can develop love for Krishna. And when we develop love for Krishna, whole of Golok of Vrindavana is exposed to us. Right? And sometime, when at some point of time, we'll also discuss about how we progress through multiple stages in bhakti. We have to know this actually. We know that Adav, Shraddha, Tada, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. And so once we start Bhajana Kriya means that after initiation, after Harinam Diksha, actually, so we actually start our bhajan. We actually start our serious devotional service, or we should start serious devotional service at that point of time. Until then, we are just practicing like apprentice. Then also it is apprentice, because we still not to come to pure devotional service. But anyway, so we start formally because we are accepted by the Lord at the time, and from then on we start devotional service. And it is said that then anartha nivritti happens. All our anarthas, unwanted things in the heart, get destroyed. And then there is after anartha nivritti, then there is nishtha, fixed steadiness in our bhakti. Then ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. So it's a beautiful journey of a devotee through all these various phases. And the devotee increasingly experiences bliss, transcendental bliss, as he moves through these phases. And actually, Prabhupada says somewhere that, life of a devotee is very adventurous, because actually, I mean, these are untreaded waters, as they say. Like, we don't know any of this. We've not experienced any of this so far. Right. And when we come to those stages and experience those various aspects in relationship with the Lord, it's so nice. It's as exciting as, possibly Atri seeing Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or more, because we'll see Radha and Krishna in their past. So when we read these things, our desire should increase. So that is the beauty of Bhagavatam. When we hear Bhagavatam, now in the mood of completely drowned uh, in what is transpiring, the Leela or whatever is being told, then automatically these thoughts come to our mind saying, oh, so nice, Atri was able to, and Ansuya were able to see Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. How do I develop that qualification to see them and maybe to see Radha and Krishna? Then we make progress. Okay. Tata saptama akutyam rucheryagno bhubhyajayata sa yamatyai suraganer apat swayambhuvantaram. The seventh incarnation was Yagna, the son of Prajapati, Ruchi, and his wife Akuti. So Akuti is a daughter of Daksha. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama, not Yama. Okay, so there is a printing mistake in some versions, and Yama, not Yama. Okay. So this present period is Vaivasvata Manu. So this is during the first Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. And so apparently there was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra. So Lord himself became Indra. So Lord normally takes up any post which of these very important posts. If there are no suitable living entities who can take up those posts, then he will himself take up the post. So here he takes up the post, and then he becomes Indra, then his own sons. So his name is Yagna, and his own sons like Yama and then other demigods, with their help, he takes care of the administrative affairs of the universe. And we've not heard much about Yagna, much beyond this in Bhagavatam. Ashtame merudevyam tu nabherjata urukramah darshayan vartmadhiranam sarvashama namaskritam. Urukrama. So when we hear these words, Urukrama, Uttama Shloka, we should come into the mood. What does Urukrama means? All powerful Lord. What does Uttama Shloka means? One who is glorified by beautiful players. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabha, the son of King Nabhi, and his wife Meru Devi, Rishabdev. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who fully control their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. So this is referring to the sannyasa order. So Rishabdev, actually, we'll read about this subsequently. So Rishabdev, he advises beautiful instructions to his sons, and the instructions is to be fully controlled in their senses. So this is sannyas. So here, actually, there's a very nice description about this stage of sannyas. Might say, okay, it's not important, relevant for us, but it's very interesting, right? How these, those in the sannyasa order, how they make progress. The order of sannyasa is considered the highest of all, and a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master for all orders and divisions in the sannyasa order. So there are 4 stages. First is called Kuti Chaka, then second one is Bahudaka, then Parivrajaka and ultimately Paramahamsa. The Paramahamsa is the highest stage. So in one lecture, Prabhupada says, so this Kuti Chaka, when one takes, so he is not practiced to beg door to door. Kuti Chaka doesn't go door to door. What he does is he just cuts off all connection. Because he would actually, somebody coming into sannyasa should have already practiced Vanaprastha. So as Vanaprastha is already left home. So he just takes prasadam from home. Prasadam, he stays separately. Only food comes from his house. Then he is engaged in his sannyasi duties. He is Kuti Chaka. Then he starts going door to door, Bhiksha. then he is called Bahudaka or Bahudaka. And then when he's still more practiced, then he becomes a preacher. So Prabhupada says that Parivrajaka say Parivrajaka because Parivrajaka is one who is Acharya, who is Paribraja, he is Brahmana. He is going from place to place, country to country, state to state, and preaching. And ultimately, after all preaching, when he's so advanced that he stops preaching and he sits down in one place and does his bhajana, Mahamsa. So our acharyas are Paramahamsas and Parivrajakacharyas. They are Paramahamsas, but they came down to the stage of Parivrajakacharyas because otherwise this Krishna consciousness would not have spread all over. And also here, this controlling the senses. Yoga is meant to control senses. Mantra, man trayate iti mantraha. Mind is the chief of senses, so mind also has to be controlled. So any process of yoga has to give us control over ourselves, our mind and senses. Today I was reading third canto, Kashyapa and Diti. So Kashyapa is a great mystic yogi, but Diti, approaches him for copulation, and he's not able to control himself. He's giving he's trying to push off. He's telling her, saying that, see, this time is inauspicious. This is twilight, we should not unite at this time. Just wait for some more time. But as wife, she kind of, makes advances and he's not able to resist. Finally, he gives up. He says, okay, I lost it. Vishwamitra also loses to Menaka. So this controlling the senses independent of bhakti, without bhakti, by mechanical process, any mechanical process, we cannot control senses. But all lust, anger, greed can be easily controlled. Easily meaning I'm saying relative comparative comparison, right? Like relative to all other processes, very easily we can achieve control over lust, anger, greed if we simply engage in Shravanam Kirtanam. In bhakti, we don't have to do some great austerities. All we need to do is follow regulative principles. That is the only austerity we have to do, right? Because that is humans. As in, if we don't follow regulative principles, then we are not humans. We are animals. So we have to follow regulative principles. And previously, I've told even uniting with husband and wife coming together without intention of producing children is also illicit. But it's less sinful than gross, extramarital affairs, etc. But we should follow these 4 regulative principles and then simply engage in Shravanam Kirtanam and simple things like, getting up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna, not eating, anything apart from prasadam, and doing Shravanam Kirtanam and following 4 regulative principles. This is all that we need to do. This is absolutely nothing. It's a more simple process compared to all, austerities people used to do in the previous yugas. Because like I said, process has become simple, extremely simple. So we automatically achieve. So this tapasya also previously yoga means I give up material pleasure, but we don't really give up as such. Our focus is a lot more on practicing bhakti. By practicing bhakti, we experience higher taste. And by experiencing higher taste, we don't have taste. We lose taste for that material pleasure because we are experiencing spiritual pleasure. So this process of bhakti is unbelievably powerful, extremely powerful. It gives us all the results of all other processes which was done in previous ages and with so much of effort and, consuming so much time. All this can be very, very quickly achieved. And of course, I hope all of us are aware that we should control lust, anger, greed, right? Because these are 3 gateways to hell. So, and in Grihastha life, brahmacharis, they abstain from these because naturally they are at that stage, in their journey of life. They have come to that maturity so to speak, right? That is why we don't force anybody to remain brahmacharis, right? If they have an urge to, engage, to get married, we just say, okay, go ahead. But we should live, even in Grihastha, we should live a ashrama. How should be Grihastha ashrama, not Grihamedi. And previously, boys used to go through brahmacharya 25 years, completely understand goal of life, how to achieve it, what to do, the hindrances that Grihastha ashram offers, which makes things very difficult, right? Um, and then still, if after hearing all the about reality, if people still wanted to get into Grihastha ashram, they were encouraged, but they had studied all their life, said they knew what was ashram, and they would live. A house would be a temple, right? And then they would achieve perfection, because there are four things in each of these four ashrams. In brahmacharya, it is education, jnana. In grihastha, it is mainly charity for normal, not people who are practicing bhakti. People who are practicing bhakti, anyway, we also have to do charity. But for those who are not, still they will go towards the ultimate goal of Vishnu, because varnashrama is also for pleasing Vishnu, by first accumulating jnana, then by doing charity, and then tapasya, etc. Right? But bhakti is all-encompassing and super powerful, irrespective of striyo vaishya tatha shudra stepi anti param gatim. Any shudra, we are all kalo shudra sambhavaha. Even really unqualified people like us can achieve perfection. And we automatically should experience detachment to material things. If you are not experiencing detachment to material things, which means that we are doing something wrong. Okay, so please note this. Powerful process, little price that we have to pay, but very simple compared to previous yugas, and will take us to the stage of perfection by simply following this process. Simply means it's really not complicated. Just try to give time to Krishna. That's all. There's nothing else that is required from us. Okay. So Rishabh Dev's teachings we will read later. Rishibhiryachito bheje navamam parthivam vapuhu dugdhe mam oshadhir viprastenayam sa ushattamaha. O Brahmanas, in the 9th incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. So Prithu was an empowered incarnation for administration. So he was empowered, meaning he was a jiva, but he was Shaktyavesha. He was empowered by the Lord. Unlike Rishabdev, who was Lord's full incarnation, this was a um, uh, empowered incarnation too. So we'll also study about him in 4th canto, I think. So here, how did Prithu come into Prabhupada writes that his father was a demon, Vena. So, and he was such a cruel king that even though there were, Brahmanas, advisors telling him what to do, what not to do, and they were advising him to, allow sacrifices, do worship of Vishnu, etc. He was such a demon that he said, king himself is Vishnu. King is Naradeva, yes, but the qualified ones, Raja Rishis. But he was totally unqualified, but he said, no, I am non-different from Vishnu. So you should worship me, not anybody else. And he stops all yagna, everything. And really the saintly people become very angry. Brahmanas, finally, they have to dethrone him. So they actually curse him that he should. So the Prabhupada here writes, intelligent class of men, Brahmanas, do not occupy royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of public. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. So they did not take up the royal duties themselves. They prayed, and the Lord bestowed mercy and appeared as Maharaj. So real intelligent men, qualified Brahmanas, never aspire for political posts. Mm. So it is not our job to enter political posts, but we should become advisors. If that is possible, we should become advisors. That is what Prabhupada is saying here. So, and Prithu Maharaj does a lot of, wonderful activities. He milks the earth to produce. Earth would have held back grains and all that. People are starving, no occupation. So he, fixes all the situations. We'll hear more about it later. Rupam sajagre matsyam chakshuchodhadi samplave na vyaropya mahimayam apadvaivasvatam manum. When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on a boat. So this is Vaivasvata Manu, current Manu. So before current Manu, this Matsya Avatara happened. So there was, this was the inundation. This was the annihilation which happened after the previous Manu's lifetime was over. So there's some argument over that there is always inundation after every Manu, and some acharyas said there is not. Anyway, here there seemed to be a annihilation, and Satyavrata, who was a great devotee of the Lord, he was a king and a great devotee. So the Lord actually tells him, saying that you wait in 7 days, the whole the world will be inundated with water. Then you keep all species of life. So he keeps male and female species, each sample species of all uh, species, and then he waits for the time when Lord appears. Lord sends huge, just imagine, to accommodate male, one female, representative of each species, 84 lakh species. Such a big ship, and with the saints and Satyavrata. Actually, he gets onto the boat, and there is so much of inundation that the Lord himself appears as a golden fish with a horn, with a big horn. Uh, and there's total darkness everywhere, and the beautiful golden form of the Lord. It actually eliminates the all the nights, and then he takes Vasuki serpent and asks Satyavrata to tie the ship to his horn. And then once that is done, he actually maneuvers the ship through the night of Brahma, through that whole annihilation, not night of Brahma, through that annihilation. And then uh, then apparently Satyuga comes, is what Satyuga assured, is what I remember. So like this, the Lord is always, because this world is a place of misery. Time to time, these things keep happening, and the Lord is always there to protect. Without the Lord, nothing can continue. That is why Vishnu, without Vishnu, this world cannot even exist for a moment, not function for a moment. And he always chooses qualified devotees for these kind of very responsible things, responsible acts, like Brahma, most qualified person becomes Brahma. And the Lord is always there helping such devotees. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So whatever he expects his devotees to do, the Lord will reveal from within the heart. Of course, this revealing from within the heart is not for all of us. As in, we have to be completely like Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita. He says that Rishikesha, connection with that Gudakesha and Rishikesha words. He tells, saying that Lord completely controls the senses of a pure devotee, completely controls, though it is to the extent of our surrender. So if somebody is completely surrendered to the Lord and has nothing that he does for sense gratification, and then he is a pure devotee, and the Lord completely controls his senses. He tells, directs from within and without. Within as Paramatma, Chaitya Guru, and without as in from outside as the Diksha Guru. or Shiksha Gurus, and directs the devotee to actually do things as per his desire. Right, so that revealing from within the heart happens for a completely surrendered devotee, free of all material desires. Till then we cannot. Till then, whatever is happening in us, or whatever directions we get, etc., inside, is mostly mental speculation. Mind just speculating, saying do this, do that. It's, of course, it's difficult to identify, because as we become pure, more and more pure, we start hearing Paramatma's directions, but initially it is very confusing. And then, of course, we can make out if mind is saying something which is against Guru Sadhu Shastra, then we know it's mental speculation. If it is something in line with Guru Sadhu Shastra, then we can accept it, even if whether it is mind or Paramatma. But slowly we will start understanding, because Paramatma actually, he just he just intervenes and changes things, as in suddenly course of our activities change, something happens which we had not planned. So these things are all interventions of Paramatma. And so these things we'll know as we make progress. Okay. Suranam udadhim matnatham mandarachalam dadre kamatarupena prishta ekadashe vipuhu. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, Kamatarupena. Kamatha is tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as churning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe. Basically, Deva and Asura, or Sura and Asura. Sura Asuranam Udatim. Sura is the theists, and Asuranam is the atheists. So basically, at that time, they used the Mandarachala hill as the churning rod. And the shell, and of course, initially, Lord wouldn't have taken the form of a tortoise. So the Mandarachala hill slips and falls into the water. Then Kurma appears, and then the Mandarachala, he places Mandarachala on his back. And in this beautiful pastime, actually, there is Ajita, who's Indra, I think. So that is incarnation of the Lord. Then there is Kurma, who is also incarnation of the Lord. Then also in another form, he holds the hill from atop. So 3 incarnations in one Leela. And of course, then Mohini, he comes as Mohini. So literally 4 incarnations in one Leela. So it's a very beautiful pastime. This is described even in Ramayana, like Vishwamitra tells Rama about this beautiful pastime. So we'll hear about this later in Bhagavatam. Dhanvantaram dvadashamam trayodashamam cha apayayat suran anyan mohinya mohayan striya. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari. And in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. Dhanvantari also. Sorry, that also. 5 incarnations in the same. So Dhanvantari appears with nectar, and then Mohini, and she comes and allures all the atheists and the asuras and gives nectar to demigods. And then also Lord Shiva also becomes illusioned by this Mohini Rupa. We'll discuss. Chaturdasham Narasimham Vibhrataitendra Murjitam Dadarakarajir Urav Erakam Katakridyata. In the 14th incarnation, Lord appeared as Narsimha. Narsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. And bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as carpenter pierces cane. Carpenter pierces cane so simply with his nails. Like a carpenter, he hits a nail onto a cane. So like that, Hiranyakashipu, just with his nails, he bifurcated the strong body of the atheist. Narsimhadev bifurcated the body of atheist Hiranyakashipu. And this is such a beautiful pastime. Now Prahlad, 7th canto, blissful. So what do we learn from Prahlad? Today I was reading somewhere. We learn how to deal with all kind of oppositions. Like father was trying to kill, and being humble. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi saishruna, amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari is Prahlad Maharaj's pastime. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to repeatedly hear Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj's pastime, right? Because Prahlad Maharaj is epitome of this Trinadapi. And Dhruva Maharaj is determination. Determination is required for us to make progress in devotional service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that these two qualities are very, very important for devotees by hearing these pastimes again and again. And even today, actually, so many times you've heard these pastimes, but again, reading, the nectar of Prahlad Maharaj's words, the nectar of instructions of Narsimhadev, it's just unbelievable out of the world. So we'll discuss this beautiful. I mean, that is why, Bhagavatam is bliss. Initially, it is austerity. Okay, initially means first canto is bliss. Bhagavatam is so designed that first canto actually increases our desire, motivates us to do bhakti, motivates us to hear more. Then second and third canto hammers us. Second and first half of third canto hammers all our real test of the taste for Bhagavatam, because creation and then things are flying all over the place, as in we just can't understand most of it, and most devotees get stuck with second canto and first half of third canto. First half of third canto, yeah, actually, till the Maitra and Vidura are discussing time and creation and all that, and then then we become purified. Actually, it is said for those who are very much attracted to material sense gratification, we should stick to first and second canto, and maybe first half of third canto, because it will take away all this. It will clean our hearts. First canto will inspire us. Second canto will clean us, and first canto also will clean us in the sense because Krishna is present throughout first canto. Right? See, actually, we feel that after the first canto, somewhat at least, initially when I read, feel separation from Krishna, because suddenly, first canto so nice. We are discussing, all these different incarnations. Then and there is, Krishna, Pandavas, Parikshit Maharaj, everything directly in connection with Krishna, because Krishna is present. And suddenly at the end, Krishna leaves this material world. And then after that, it's like we keep waiting. Okay, where is Krishna? And then when we make more progress, then we start realizing, saying, oh, Krishna is not gone. Krishna is there, because all of these are Krishna. Actually, these pastimes should increase our appreciation of Krishna's power and position. Oh, Purusha incarnations, just a part of Krishna, powerful. Narsimha, just another incarnation of Krishna. So non-different from Krishna. So we start seeing Krishna's power, Krishna's mercy on living entities in throughout all these pastimes. But initially we will feel that we want to. Then of course, then again, finally we'll come back saying that no, it's fine. All of this is Krishna, but still I want to hear Krishna. But for that we have to be completely pure, purified of all material desires. Actually, we sometimes devotees wonder, saying that why Parikshit Maharaj had to go through all this. He asked so many questions. We'll come to that. We'll be like, like before the context is set, saying that Parikshit Maharaj is a devotee of Krishna. Shukadev Goswami is also a great devotee of Krishna. They should have directly talked about Krishna. Why they're talking about so many things, so many things. And then Acharyas reveal, saying that that is because actually in that gathering, there were all kinds of, followers of all the, Shad Darshanas, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Karma Mimamsa, Sankhya, Patanjali's followers, and also devotees. Now, but all these other people, they cannot understand Krishna if they directly go and talk about sweet pastimes of Krishna, because they don't even think that Krishna exists. Right? They think it's all nirvishesh, any of them. So actually, Parikshit Maharaj is so much, he is dying. He's almost, he's close to death, but he's full of compassion for all these saints and sages present there, saying that no, they should all accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So he's asking all these questions so that eventually he prepares everybody through his questions and Shukadev's answers. Everybody becomes prepared, ready to hear Krishna's pastimes in the 10th canto. So it is same thing for us. We might not be like Nyaya, followers of Nyaya, Tarka, or Vaisheshika, or Karma Mimamsa, or any of these. We might be devotees, but still we have lot of material contamination. So we have to purify our material contamination by repeatedly hearing these 9 cantos. Then when we enter the 10th canto, we are so much of bliss we experience, because as present again in this beautiful, Mathura pastimes. But for that, we have to, this is the austerity actually for us. We go through all this, hear, understand, start applying these things in our life, purify. At the end of the day, we should feel that I am pure, I become pure. I was like this before coming to Krishna consciousness, and now with repeated hearing of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, all the kachara in my heart is gone. And how do we feel that? We don't feel any negative feeling towards anybody. Anybody, whatever. Today, I keep contemplating on this. Throughout the day, we are interacting with so many people, devotees, non-devotees, etc. Family people. Family people is even more difficult, right? They are like, we treat them neither as devotees nor as non-devotees. It's like that because of material affection. We deal with all these people, and we I keep contemplating. Okay, somebody said this. What happened in my heart? Something happened. Some feeling erupted. Something, anger, frustration, or putting down somebody, feeling somebody is worthless. What kind of emotions are appearing when we are in all these situations? And then where should we come? We should reach a stage where any of these material things, there is no fluctuation, there is no emotion. As in, all these are unnecessary emotions. The only emotion is towards Krishna and bhakti. So all these should stop. It's like, that water in an ocean. There is huge waves, up and down, up and down. Karmi is like that. Huge reactions, huge feelings, extreme feelings, can't control, burst out, spoil relations, spoil everything. And then we should slowly settle down. And then initially, short waves, short ups and downs will happen. Like, not as powerful as before, but eventually we'll become completely calm and peaceful and pure. Whatever happens, it says, okay, this is, I deserve. Fine. Somebody said something wrong, I deserve. Somebody shouted at me, I deserve. Somebody saying something which is not correct, oh, compassion. So devotee has 4 things, right? He shows compassion towards non-devotees. Then he stays away from atheists or offenders. Then he has love for the Lord. So these things, and friendship with devotees. So these feelings actually have to become cemented in our hearts, and this whole reactions to material feelings should stop. That is purity. Purity basically means that this nonsense that is happening in our heart should stop, and that will automatically happen by this powerful process of Shravanam. I don't know. I am been continuously highlighting this. You have to taste it to experience it. It's like that gulab jamun, right? I can give beautiful descriptions of, flavor, taste, color, softness, fragrance. But you'll say, Are Baba, chodo. You have that, show me, I will eat. I will automatically experience. Bhakti is like that. This process is like that. Shravanam Kirtanam is like that. Only when one dives into it, will they experience it. And then they'll feel like, oh, this is awesome. This is unimaginable, right? It is so powerful, and there's so much of bliss one experiences. How does this bliss happen? Can somebody tell? I was asking this in my another Kannada class. How do you differentiate between material happiness and bliss in bhakti. That is why we don't say we don't say we don't say what do you say? Hope everybody enjoyed this. No, this hope everybody enjoyed somehow, gives a feeling that we are trying to extract happiness. Hope everybody experienced happiness means that it is not our endeavor. It is beyond our endeavor that we have experienced something. So anybody wants to share any thoughts about this? One is I am enjoying versus I experienced happiness. Is there a difference? Or it's just jugglery of words? Anybody wants to share any thoughts?
I am enjoying means there is an endeavor from my side. It is I who did something to enjoy, but bliss comes automatically. It's like you satisfy someone, and in this case, it is Lord, and then automatically you get it without much endeavor. It is you don't have to endeavor using your senses, or you don't have to apply force.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything?
In simple way, enjoying is like I want to have something, so I order it or I prepare it and I eat it, and I feel the taste and enjoy. In a simple term, as an example. But the other end is you're thinking of something, and without any expectation, you might think that, oh, it's too much of expectation, might or not happen, and suddenly, like a magic, it happens, and that's the happiness.
Okay. Okay, but that happiness can also be material. Because, for example, we did something we didn't expect, suddenly we got a promotion or we got a bonus. No, that is also happiness, but that's still mundane, and
Correct.
we cannot say we didn't do anything about it because we did endeavor, right? But we didn't connect the fruit or a result directly with that endeavor, saying that, I did this, so I will get promotion. So it can still be material, right? So we need to be able to distinguish this. Material happiness, which comes of its own accord, and this spiritual happiness that we experience. One thing is very simple, like spiritual happiness is nothing to do with material, right? So we can clearly rule out any cause of any material cause which is resulting in any kind of happiness in us is not spiritual, and it is either a result of our own endeavor right now in this life to achieve enjoyment, or a result of some previous karma that we have done in previous life, that we end up with that happiness, right? But this experiencing happiness is like directly connected to the Lord, first thing, right? So simple things like, you go stand in front of the Lord, and when you see the Lord, you might have, your eyes might be wet, or your hair might be stand on end. And I'm sure all of us would have experienced this at different stages to different extents. Or you're hearing something, suddenly you feel like suddenly some push from inside. Just your face, there's a smile on your face. I'm sure we've experienced this. When these things happen in connection, because you did not anticipate any of this, you did not anticipate that when I see Radha Madhav, how will it be? I don't know. I just go and stand in front of Radha Madhav, I look at them, then, tears in the eyes, right? Which means that these are initial indications that there is some feeling that we have towards the Lord, which is very good, because so many people stand and they don't experience anything. And it's okay, because the process of bhakti will wake up these feelings, will wake up this bhakti within, which is already residing in our heart, right? The feelings towards the Lord will be awakened. But when we say, no, no, I'm going to stand in front of Radha Madhav and I'm going to look at them and I'm going to become happy. Now, this might be completely mundane, right? But because it's in connection with the Lord, we will still get purified. And eventually we'll come to the platform of really experiencing spiritual bliss. But anything that happens in connection with the Lord without us intending to, achieve any kind of a specific kind of a feeling, which we automatically experience. we automatically experience because it just appears in our body. So that is spiritual. So I don't know why I started saying that, but this is the result of Shravanam. This is the result of Shravanam. Is this clear? Any confusion on this topic? Okay. 19. Panchadasham Vamanakam Krutva Gadadvaram Balehe Padatrayam Yachamana Pratyadit Sustripistapam. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of dwarf Brahmana Vamana and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. This is another amazing pastime. So many intricate details, because Bali is also devotee. Lord is engaging with his devotee and putting him through so many things, and why is he doing? Externally it looks like humiliation. Externally it looks like he's taking away things from Bali. Humiliation because even after Bali gives up everything, Vaman Dev actually arrests him by Varuna Pasha, by the ropes of Varuna. So it's very, very, bewildering. We can't understand, why is the Lord doing something like this? Is the Lord partial? So many questions come to our mind. And Parikshit, actually, Parikshit Maharaj, if you see Bhagavatam, he's so inquisitive. He's dying. He has 7 days. He's not eaten. He's not slept. He's just simply continuously hearing, not even water. But he's so inquisitive. He's hearing attentively and he's asking 100 questions to Shukadeva Goswami. And repeatedly, Shukadeva Goswami appreciates. Amazing how attentively you are hearing, in spite of your situation. Because pastimes are like that, and it's not that all the details are not very clearly explained. Acharyas explain through various commentaries. We can understand various aspects of why the Lord did what was the devotee's mood, because we might read something in English and we might just our own mental speculation about the devotee's mood, bhava. And that is why actually it is said that we should not engage in this. Many people end up in writing dramas and all that. So actually, at least our Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he says, see, unless you are very pure and you understood the moods of those devotees who are involved, don't enter into serious drama. It's okay. Children, something they're doing okay but adults getting into serious drama is for pure devotees who actually understand the mood. So for example, sometimes I see many various dramas where devotees suddenly, like they say Haridas Thakur and he's crying in connection with something which is not spiritual, or, some wrong emotions are displayed, which that devotee would never have done. Or something, the way he's telling something to the Lord, it sounds like demanding. But the devotee would never have demanded anything from the Lord. So we should understand, or he's like completely in morose. Devotee is never morose, right? So we will, in our conditioned state, we will think about these pastimes materially, from a material viewpoint, and we say, okay, this devotee is suffering, so he should have pain. So we'll be showing pain, like sadness in our face. But devotee will not be like that. So it's very, very difficult. I mean, and we will wrongly represent these great devotees in front of public who might misunderstand. Oh, this devotee was crying. No, devotee will never cry. He will never ask anything in front of the Lord. So it's very important that, we understand. And that is why we have to go into the mood of Bhagavatam, and we should hear from various acharyas about the mood of the devotees, not our mental speculation. And we will start to understand, oh, this is amazing. So such pure feelings, and no envy, no jealousy, no anger. So then we will start understanding, oh, I am also thinking I'm a devotee, and what I would have done in this case. I would have first said, Amandev, I'm your devotee. Why are you treating me like this? So then we'll understand how far we are from pure state. So that is why Bhagavatam is so powerful. Bhagavatam is okay. One last verse and Avatare Shodashame Pashchan Brahmadruho Nrupan Tri Saptakritva Kupito Niskatram Akaron Mahim. The 16th incarnation of Godhead, the Lord, as Brugupati Parshuram, annihilated the administrative class Kshatriyas 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas. So this is very elaborately described in Ramayana also. We'll discuss this. Actually, we'll come across this again further later. We'll discuss this. How Kartavira Arjun steals the cow of the sage, and so Renuka and what is father's name? What is father of Parshuram? Not coming to my. Anyway, so I'll sometimes memory blocks.
Jamadagni?
No, not Jamadagni. Parshuram.
Prabhu, is this Jamadagni?
Jamadagni, youngest son of Jamadagni. Correct. Jamadagni. So youngest son of Jamadagni. Jamadagni. Renuka and Jamadagni. So he takes away the cow, right, which he would be using for his sacrifices. And then, of course, Parshuram becomes angry. Then, he goes and kills everybody, Kartavirya Arjun and all his brothers. And then his sons come and take revenge and they kill Jamadagni. And then Parshurama decides to destroy the Kshatriya clan. So 21 times, 7 times 3, it's 21 times he annihilates all the Kshatriyas. And then in Samanta Panchak, is near Hastinapur, fills lakes, huge lakes with blood of Kshatriyas. So, and then of course he he repents and he goes to Mandara mountain, he does penance, etc. So it's okay. So we'll stop here. Okay. Any questions we can discuss? Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Anybody has anything? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the beautiful session today. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any questions, any doubts? Yeah, Suma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, you were talking about that mental speculation and sometimes it won't be spiritual. So we are not able to understand. We think that it is something spiritual, Prabhuji, even while during the chanting and after that hearing all about the Lord and everything past times. So I just want to know, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhupada always used to say that whatever realizations you get, you have to write it down.
Yeah.
So now also you are telling that the dramas and all, only those pure devotees can only execute all that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, Prabhuji, I have written whatever comes to my mind, I have written. So
No.
all those things will not be shared, no, Prabhuji? Should.
Yeah. No. See, our personal realization, first of all, we need to know what is a realization, what is a mental concoction, right? Now, but as a personal diary, you can scribble anything and everything. right? Because over a period of time, we will understand whether it was a realization or whether it was a mental speculation. But we write down because actually it helps us to understand where we stand, what our thoughts are, introspection. It has a lot of benefits. Writing a diary has a lot of benefits. So we should do that. Now, that has nothing to do with this. Let me also clarify. See, the point I was making is sometimes people say, Lord has motivated me to do this. And who said that? Just my mind. This is very speculative, because that stage, that devotee will never say, Lord has told me to do this. When somebody reaches a stage, when Paramatma is guiding him from inside, he will not say, Lord has asked me to do this, right? Because he will never
Yes.
want to say that the Lord actually is showing mercy on him, right? He will keep quiet. He will simply do. For us, now at least I can talk about myself, it is directly an order of a senior that we should simply abide. And because sometimes, seniors will say, do this. And then we'll say, Prabhu, no, my heart, my mind is saying, don't do this. Maybe Paramatma is directly guiding me from within. This is all speculation. So if a senior is saying, do this, Guru is saying, do this, we should just say, okay, as you say. So we should not bring our material mind into these situations and confuse it, that I am internally only, I am getting so many realizations, so many directions, that maybe what you are saying is wrong. Because actually Lord, initial stages, he will talk to us through other devotees only, right? That is how he will give us guidance. We are not pure enough for,
Yes,
for us to
Prabhuji,
even
we are
hear
not
him.
sure.
So we should not confuse our, but yes, we will be having, so like I said, when we are hearing about Lord, suddenly there is some feeling that comes up. We should not discuss this with others, but we should write down, saying that when I was hearing this class today, suddenly I got this feeling. Now, this is not logic, this is not philosophy, it's a feeling, right? We don't expose it to others. We don't expose it to others, right? But we may make a note of it. And when we will hear about devotees and their expressions of, love for Krishna through in Shastra, when we are hearing Shastra, Bhagavatam, and we hear, other scriptures, etc., then we can see some, similarity to what I experienced. Then we can know that, oh, okay, looks like this is authentic. But if we don't come across anything like this, which has not happened to any other devotee, then we can be very clear that, just speculative nonsense that my mind has created.
Yes, Prabhu.
So we have to see our mind's thoughts have to finally be in line with Guru Sadhu Shastra. That we should be certain, sure that it's not some crazy stuff that my mind has popped up.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah, and that
Thank
will
you so
happen
much.
only through studying Srila Prabhupada's books. This again I'm saying, because my whole idea about this class, that is why I'm not doing this as a class. I am doing this as a way to understand purports, and trying to go deep into the subject matter, because these realizations have to happen with each individual, right? Because we are all individual souls. And of course, the hearing process can only increase our desire, our motivation, etc. But we have to take the book, we have to sit and read. That's why some of these things that I'm discussing here, I don't talk in my Kannada classes and all that, because devotees are not so, study oriented. But English speaking devotees, mostly they're study oriented. So we should be study oriented. And then when we read, and then we will experience, we will introspect, we'll think about what is being written, what is being said, and then, real inner cleaning work will happen in the heart.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Because if we are not conscious and if we are so careless about these things, then we will continue our journey and we will fall off. That is why. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I
much.
mean, yeah, we may fall off, we may not fall off. That is a different thing, but it's will not lead us to pure devotional service.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Not immediately lead us. See, our goal is pure devotion. This pure devotion, actually, yesterday I was reading in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada says, I asked this question: how many of us want to come to the stage of prema? Obviously, everybody will lift our hands. And the next question is, What is it that we need to do to achieve that stage? So Prabhupada says, and then again, thousands of answers can be there, right? For this, Prabhupada says two solid things. Please remember this. He says one is very rigid devotional service, and under the clear guidance of a pure devotee. Prabhupada says these two things as the answer for achieving prema. So either if we are doing one of these, will not help. Because actually, if we are closely serving a pure devotee, he will be doing pure devotion, rigid devotional service, Tivra Bhakti. So there is no way we will not get influenced by that, right? If we are not doing rigid devotional service, but we think we are engaging with a pure devotee or associating with a pure devotee, then either we are doing something wrong in the way we are associating, or we think that somebody is pure, but he or she is not. Right? But both these have to happen. A devotee has to experience this, and that will happen only when we do pure devotional service. I mean, we serve, associate with pure devotees, and we engage in rigid devotional service. Prabhupada says rigid. But
Sure.
in today's world, people talk about chill, relaxed devotional service, casual devotional service. That's not going to give us prema.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. So we'll conclude. Just one thing. Next Saturday, I'm traveling. So next Saturday we won't have class. Sunday we will have. Krishna willing. Sunday. Saturday won't have. So you can please utilize your anyway block the time. Utilize that time to read more. To read some more Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, possible. Okay, so we'll end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo. Antakot. Vandaki jai jagat guru.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.